I'm here to tell you a story about broken promises and pee. When you have a fertility procedure, for some people it's IVF, for me it was artificial insemination. The time between having the procedure and finding out if you're pregnant is called the 2-week wait. And the 2-week wait is generally agreed to be 2 of the longest weeks of your life. And it's not hard to figure out why. I mean, you take a group of people who are so determined to be parents that they will spend money and jab themselves repeatedly with needles, and then you make them wait 2 weeks to find out if that was worthless or if it worked. So I had read up on it. There are lots of blogs. There are entire forums solely dedicated to the 2-week wait. So I felt like I was as prepared as I could be. But before I could have my procedure, I had to go to the fertility clinic and have a class about the medication that I was going to be taking and how to give yourself the shot that makes you ovulate and all of these fun things. So I'm sitting in at this table with 4 couples and me, because I'm doing this by myself. And at the end of it, the nurses were like, "We need to talk to you about the 2-week wait." They were like, "You're gonna want to take a home pregnancy test. We're just here to highly encourage you, don't do it. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of energy. You're not gonna get any information that you can use because you're not gonna trust anything that you see or hear. So it's just a waste of everything, don't do it. Just promise us that you're not gonna do it." So we're all like, "We promise." But really, hand to God, I was sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, of course I'm not gonna take a pregnancy test. I mean, I might as well just take $20 out of my pocket and pee on it. That would probably give me the same amount of information. So I'm good. So I had my procedure, I embark upon my 2-week wait. And for me, the 2-week wait was basically 2 weeks of me arguing with myself on whether or not I was pregnant. So I'd wake up and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm really hungry. Wait, I'm hungry. Does that mean I'm pregnant? Or no, it's morning, I should be nauseous, so I'm not pregnant. Unless I am pregnant and this is a craving." Like, there's a lot of that for 2 weeks. You can imagine that that's a little tiring. So, but really, I mean, relatively speaking, the first 10 days, I was pretty okay. And then I went grocery shopping. And I do my grocery shopping on Sundays. And I was having my blood test to find out if I was pregnant or not on a Thursday morning. So the Sunday before, I'm doing my grocery shopping like I do every Sunday, and all of a sudden I realize I'm on the aisle with the pregnancy tests. And I realize that I'm like slowing down, and I'm like looking longingly at the tests, and I kind of stop and I pick one up just to look, and I read it, and I'm like, well, how early is early, and all of these things. And then I realized what I'm doing. And I put it down and I kind of looked around guiltily like the nurses were gonna be like, "We told you." But I was like, no, okay. So I put it down and I left. I paid for my groceries. I went home. I unloaded the groceries. I sat down on the couch. And for an hour, all I thought about was pregnancy tests. I was like, I should have gotten one. No, you shouldn't have. Yes, I should have. Why would you do that? They told you not to do that. So finally, after an hour, I was like, and I'm literally talking out loud to myself in an empty house. And I was like, "You know what, Amy, you're clearly not gonna rest until you take this test. So as stupid as this is, go get a test, because I can't deal with this." Like, half my brain was saying this. And so I get back in the car and I go to CVS and I buy a 2-pack, because when you're wasting money, get the best deal, right? So I go home, I take the test, and it's faintly positive. And I'm like, "Positive, yes!" And then I'm like, "But what does that mean? It's faint. I don't know what that means. I've never taken a pregnancy test before." So I Google it, because it's 2017, that's what you do. And so I was like, okay, so I find out that any positive is a positive, no matter how faint. So I'm like, okay, yes. And then I remember, hey, you took all that fertility meds, so this could be a false positive. So I'm like, okay, I did. That was 10 days ago. I mean, how long could they possibly be in my system? I feel like I'm on the later end of that. I wonder how much is in my system after 10 days. Let me Google it. So I Google the sentence, positive pregnancy test 10 days after taking Ovidrel. And can I tell you that Google populated that search before I finished it? So at the very least, I'm in really good company. So I read this whole thing that some blessed person did, probably on their 2-week wait, figuring out how much leaves your system every 24 hours. So I get to the bottom of it, and basically I know nothing more than what I did. I know that I have some in my system, not much, but still some. So I sit back and I'm like, well, Aimee, you don't really know anything. Wow, who could have seen this coming? But then I realize I do have some more information that I didn't have before, because now I have a baseline, right? So I have this second pregnancy test, let's not waste it. So this is Sunday night. I'll take it again on Tuesday morning, because in my Googling, I discovered that the best time to take a pregnancy test is in the morning because your pee is more concentrated. So there's your fun fact for the day. So I'm like, okay, so I wake up Tuesday morning, I stumble to the bathroom, I've got the test there waiting, I pee, I start to pee, I take the test, I pull it out, and I realize immediately something's wrong. Because the previous test, I could watch the pee, like absorb up the stick and then saturate the paper, and this time nothing was moving, there was no pee moving. So I immediately stopped peeing, because I can't waste all of this good, possibly pregnant pee. So I'm sitting there at 5 o'clock in the morning, holding my pee, staring at this thing I just peed on, and I'm trying to figure out what to do. And then like the analytical part of my brain was like, I wonder why this test isn't working. What's defective in this test? Is it the sponge? Is it the paper? Like, is there something stopping the pee? Like, did you not pee enough? Like, I was really trying to figure it out. So I just pulled on the thing I had just peed on and pulled it out, because really bad hygiene was the least of my problems at this point. So turns out that it's about this long, the thing you pee on, and you pee on about this much. So I was like, I wonder what would happen if I peed on the other side of it and stuck it in. I mean, why don't we find out? So I did. It absorbs. Positive. And I'm like, yes, positive! But this test is clearly defective. You could have put water on that thing and it could have said positive. We don't know. So as advertised, you don't know anything more than you did 48 hours ago. So good job, Aimee. Way to break your promise. You kind of deserve this defunct test because this is what you get, right? So I'm like, you know what, Aimee? Just, you're done here. You're not gonna buy any more pregnancy tests. You're gonna take your blood test on Thursday morning. You're gonna get the results Thursday afternoon, and you're gonna move on. So then I start really thinking about that, and like, I was gonna be at work when I got this information because I didn't wanna take a day off, because if I was pregnant, I was gonna need every single second of leave. So I was like, well, Aimee, I mean, maybe you should take one more test on Thursday morning to kind of prepare yourself for this news, because the last thing you want is to dissolve into a puddle of tears in the middle of your workplace, because none of these people have any idea this is happening. So I talked myself into taking one more test. I go, I take my blood test. They call me with the results. I calmly take the call at work. I hang up the phone. I walk into my boss's office, shut the door, sit down, and burst into tears. And she is already alarmed because I've shut the door. And then I'm sobbing, and she's like, are you okay? Did someone die? And I can't say anything. And then finally, the only thing that I can get out of my mouth is, it's good. No, it's good. It's good. It's good. That's all I can say, repeatedly. And she's looking at me like, how can it be good? What is wrong with you? And all I'm thinking is, oh, thank God you took that third test, or this would be really embarrassing. But eventually, I was able to communicate that I was pregnant, and I have a beautiful, almost 3-year-old son. So, thank you.